This is what's pissing me off today. I'm Bob Pritchard. Well, if you've been on social media at all over the last couple of weeks, you've probably noticed there's a number of posts coming out comparing Donald Trump, yes, President Donald Trump, with Adolf Hitler. And when you start to drill into it, it really is an interesting comparison. First of all, Hitler had his little riots and got arrested for them. In the States, Trump had his, but they don't arrest presidents, at least so far they haven't. But they did arrest other people involved with it, not that they all haven't been pardoned by this stage of the game. And then a little bit later on in Hitler's rise to power, he got himself, a group of men that went out, the brown shirts, enforcing his little thoughts on things. And when he wanted more enforcement, he turned to the black shirts, better known as the Gestapo. When we look at the United States, there we have good old President Don running around with, well, I'd say his brown shirts are more like the National Guard, little toys that he deploys in U.S. cities and points their rifles at local citizens just because he doesn't like what's going on there. And now he needs a little more oomph into the whole discussion. He has his black shirts, better known as ICE. And they're out there just randomly arresting people, throwing the Constitution out the window, and doing whatever they want to do. So the question that comes out of it is, how are we going to deal with Donald Trump? Because if we follow Hitler's methodology and, how he secured power, as stupid and criminal as it was, then Trump can't be all that far behind. So where's the most logical place for them to annex? Well, the Great White North. And he's already talking about Canada as a 51st state. We've all been taking it as sort of a big joke because, why would they want to invade Canada? And yet Germany back in the 30s managed to annex parts of Austria because, after all, they're all German. Here in North America, we're all North Americans. And he probably has the latitude to do that under U.S. law. Given the Monroe Doctrine, meaning that if at some stage he feels that, Canada's a vulnerability because we could be invaded by somebody else and he wouldn't be able to do anything about it, he could just take over. Think about that. Would it surprise you? I don't think we put up much of a fight, not because we can't fight or we don't like fighting, but more along the lines of we'd be completely outnumbered 10-1, and our forces are mostly in the States, training with them already. So I don't think we could rely on them too much, and I think it would be a fairly quick discussion. However, the rest of the world might not share the opinion of just a friendly takeover. Anyway, I know it's a long reach and it's been a long summer with all the heat and humidity, but when you stop and think about it, it could happen. And that's what's pissing me off today. I'm Bob Pritchard.